Hello everyone, welcome to my first how-to video. This is my first attempt at any sort of instructional or non-fictional works. All my previous videos have either been purely comedic or lore-based informative for fiction and stuff. This is the first time I am ever sharing any of my tricks with you guys. So, I've been kind of nervous about this video, and I still am. Check the description down below for any timestamps on the sections, but basically what this video is going to be is how you personally can solve every major problem with the games industry with a bit of hard work and a bit of heart, and I will show you. So first off, games industry has problems. Games can be overpriced, games come out unfinished, there aren't enough games that you know of, and all of these are severe issues, and I will tell you how to solve each of them personally. All you need is a gaming PC, which is the biggest barrier to entry. Basically, the problem is consoles and mobile are closed systems that are controlled by someone else, and the only way for you to personally control the issues with gaming is to own a gaming PC. Secondly, you're going to need an open mind. I'm going to recommend things in this video that people have taught you to find morally reprehensible, and I need you to open your mind and think constructively and openly about these things, and most importantly, look out for yourself. Try to realize that all of these things that I'm going to suggest are things that are meant to help you personally, first and foremost. Any other issues that come out on top of that are not the focus of this video, and you should look into them. However, that's not the point of this video. So, going forward, first thing we're going to tackle is unfinished games. Are you tired of unfinished games? Like, we see it a million times. Games come out, they're not finished, there's not enough content, the games barely work or run on the system you own, and you have to wait months and months for patches and mods to get the game into a workable state. What do I suggest? Never, ever buy a new release PC game. I'm serious. Wait. What I like to do is load games onto my Steam wishlist whenever I'm interested in them and buy them whenever they're cheap. I buy games on my Steam list from cheapest to most expensive, and I just go down the list, and when there's a game that I want, I pick it up later. I don't ever buy games at launch. If you wait, games will receive support from both their creators and their fans. They'll be cheaper, and even giving a game a few months can vastly improve them and give you a better experience. Now, of course, if you do this, the problem you're going to run into is that you're not going to have enough games to play, and this is also another problem we're going to tackle. Not enough games? Embrace indie and retro titles. Many retro titles that you've never played before and never heard of are as fantastic as what you are currently playing and are just waiting to become your next favorite. In my time streaming, I have played so many old games that are now my favorites, and I make it my mission to personally get as many people to play them as possible. Things like Max Payne, Fallout New Vegas, the old Fallout games, the old Elder Scrolls games. There's a lot of games now that I really love. Metroid Zero Mission, Pokemon Snap. Games that are old and are not currently supported officially nowadays. Also keep an eye out for unique indie titles. They come out hourly. Like, there are so many indie games coming out every second of every day, and so many of them can give you gaming experiences that you will cherish for the rest of your life. I will never forget Undertale. I will never forget some of the amazing indie titles I have played. I'll never forget Say No More, or Devotion, or any of those games, and they're all fantastic. However, if you just focus on the same 4 AAA titles, you're never going to be able to appreciate them. Now, of course, acquiring these games may be difficult, and that's what we're going to tackle next. Too many digital game stores? Pick the one you like. Don't use the rest. And I will tell you how to do this in a later section. But for now, all you need to know is very similar with video streaming services. Pick the one that you like, and don't use the other ones. You don't have to. Now, if you don't have a console to play certain retro games, there are these things called emulators that can do literally everything that older consoles can do, and for free. There is no reason to buy a GameCube, a PS2, a PS1, an NES, a Super Nintendo, a Game Boy Advance, a Game Boy, or a Game Boy Color, or a Wii. All of these things can be played on PC. You can improve these games, make them look better graphically, and make them play better for completely free. You can use whatever controller you want to play these games. And also, fans of these programs, fans of emulators, share their games for free online. There's no need to buy a new Nintendo game or old Nintendo games when they get re-released. You can just play them all for free on Dolphin. In my opinion, if a developer wants you to buy their games, they should put it on a system that you own. And if you only own a PC, if that developer wants your money, they need to put that game on PC. What if those indie games are still too expensive like mini games are today? It's rare that you have an expensive indie games, but they do exist. Indie games that are far too overpriced, like Divinity Original Sin 2 or Factorio. How do you deal with the fact that they're that expensive? Now, if games you want are too expensive, you have alternatives. You should never pay a price that you don't want to pay for a video game, a price that you cannot afford. There are far more important things to spend money on, and there's a far better way to get overpriced games. First thing you should do, check websites like Green Man Gaming or Is There Any Deal to see if there's any sales, or even things like Amazon or eBay can give you the hookup with good game codes. However, if you can't find a good one, look into key sites such as G2A, Kinguin, and Cheap Digital Download, especially Cheap Digital Download, which serves as a hub for all these games. From here, you can buy a key for whatever service you want to use for usually like a third of the price of the game on its own service. Input that key into that service, like Steam, and you'll be good to go. Using key sites guarantees that you'll still be able to receive updates to your games and play them online. Multiplayer games are still fully available through this. But after it's all said and done, it still requires you to spend money. If you cannot spend money, and you can barely afford groceries, let alone video games, what are you to do? Well, if you can't afford games at all, that's awesome, that's fine. People willingly share the video games that they bought online for free. And I think that's really great that they do this. I consider what people on the Pirate Bay and Kick-Ass Torrents and these different websites do to be an act of charity, similar to donating books to a library. First thing you want to do if you want to partake in this charity is to download a piece of software called qBittorrent. qBittorrent is a torrenting software, and what torrents are is they are your method of downloading that you're going to need to use in order to get these free games. Second, download Proton VPN or another alternative VPN. You might have a paid VPN you like, but I'm assuming that if you're doing this, you can't afford it. So grab yourself Proton VPN. It's a free VPN. It'll allow you to block your IP address. Next, get something known as uBlock Origin or AdBlock Plus. What this will do is it'll block ads on certain websites that are malicious and bad for your computer. Now that all these steps are taken, and you can avoid all the bad actors on these websites that could mess up your charitable gaming experience, you can acquire single-player games for free. If the multiplayer game you're interested in has private servers, you can also get it this way too. My two prime examples are El Dorito, which is for Halo 3, and Plutonium, which is for a lot of the Call of Duty games. Just look up Plutonium Call of Duty, and you'll be all set to go. Now, most importantly, we're at the very end. A lot of you have probably sat through this thinking, like, why? Why all this trouble? Why have you done all this? Well, most importantly, it fucking works. I've used most of these tricks for years and have had a much better gaming experience than you have because of it. The other thing is that the games industry is only getting worse. Prices are going up. Games are becoming less and less finished as they come out. And just overall, the consumers and the workers of the game industry are being mistreated. Now, I'm not asking you to change the world. I'm simply suggesting that you insulate yourself from the world as it changes. Sadly, every issue fixed personally by this video is common and accepted practice. Most people are okay with games costing too much. Most people are okay with games coming out unfinished. Most people are okay with these things, and if they weren't, they would have done something about it. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters to the games industry is our money. And if we withhold it from them by partaking in these steps, and basically only partake in parts of the games industry that we're okay with and that we enjoy, I genuinely believe it will change things for the better. Now, a lot of people will go and be upset about the idea that, like, oh no, you're taking money from game developers if you buy used games, if you buy pirated games. But game developers don't collect a commission for the games that they buy. That's not how this works. They get paid a salary in most companies. And it's important that we are able to shape the industry to what we want it to be. If we engage in all of these things that I suggested, if enough people do this, things will change for the better. Will people lose their jobs? Will people get hurt? Will people lose money along the way? Absolutely. But that's how you change things. It's bad, I know. And it sucks that we have to do this. However, at the end of the day, what matters most is that at the end of the day, these are just video games, and you need to make it the most simple, easy, enjoyable thing for yourself, and that's what this video is meant to do. So I really hope you enjoy this. I apologize if I got a bit ranty and crazy talky at the end. I do care very much about this industry. If you enjoyed this video, share it with your friends, subscribe, and if you want to join my community down below, there'll be a link to my Discord as well as all my other social media. And finally, if you'd like to support my channel financially, you can join my Patreon down below. Thank you so much for watching, and please have a wonderful day.